So Gary, your career had been going really well as a bookmaker actually. You were very successful. In fact, I think straight before Frankie happened, you'd just been to Yarmouth, made 60 grand, you went for a nice meal and you just bought a holiday house for cash. You had a place in Portugal, a couple of Mercedes. Life was good.
Very good, Julie. Yeah, that was a funny day in Yarmouth. The big bookmaker was next to us, called Roy Christie, and he had a car broke down on the way there, and there was only one big punter there who used to come. He used to have 10 grand a race on, and Roy never made it that day. I was there. I think I went with me. I think I had about 2.5 grand in my pocket. Also, first bet 10,000 at 4-1. He had the fella. I thought, well, hang on a chance. We've got a chance here. I've always been a chance all my life, Julie. Anyway, all of a sudden, 6 races late, we never back to winner. So I won 60 grand. So we were staying at the Cliff Hotel in Galston. Really nice that is. If anyone's in there, I think it's the best hotel in Yarmouth. And the following day I got a taxi. He said to the taxi driver, where would you like to go if you had somewhere to live? Where was the best place? And he took us to a little village called Winterton-on-Sea, past Emsby. And there was a thatched cottage there. Really lovely. It was called Harbour Cottage. And I rang up the estate agent, Aldridge, it was, of Great Yarmouth. I said, how much is that cottage? He said, 59,500. I thought, I've just won that. So I said to the woman, yeah, we'll have it. And she said, but you mean you want to go and view it? I said, no, I'll have it. It was on a green opposite a pub. And now, even when I go to Yarmouth now, I still go there now. It brings back memories. That was the thing that I lost out, because after Dettori Day, everything had to go. And that cottage is still there. And I think he might have bought it, Dion Dublin, of Homes Under the Hammer, because I know he was interested, or he was interested after. But that was lovely there. But Julie, you win and lose at this game.
It was a real sliding doors moment, the Magnificent 7 Day, as it went on to be called, because you were actually meant to be going to Worcester races.
Exactly right, yeah. I was on my way to Worcester when I got to the M40, because I lived at Milton Keynes, great Little Alwood, which is just out of Milton Keynes, and that day we was at the roundabout and there was a big traffic jam at Banbury on the M40, and I rang my clerk up, Pete Houghton, who's a bookie now, and I said, Pete, turn back, we'll go to Ascot, it looks a real hard car, we'll only mess about, play small, and we might go and try to nick a monkey, which is £500. Little did I realise 3.5 hours later, I don't know about the £500, but you know, it was a killer, you know, to lose 1.4 million on one race of the last, and I was in front going into the last 2 races.
Well, when you tell the story of what happened on that day, it's almost like you really didn't realise what was happening as it transpired.
Well, I think what it was, Julie, inside a fat person is a thin person. And on that day, I was like the man on the end of the pier, I was like the comedian, I was standing on the box. And by the 7th race, people were just coming into you with all bets, 2 grand, 4 grand, 5 grand. And I thought, this is me, I'll have all this, you know what I mean? And I stood there. You don't forget the horse was 16-1 in the morning, or 20-1, and I was laying 2-1. I laid Corals. Corals took the best price, 4-1, and then it went to 3-1, 5-2, 2-1. No one else could back it. There was no other bookie big enough who wanted to have a go. Bearing in mind, I thought to myself, hang on, there's a chance here. I'm laying 2-1, a 16-1 chance. But we all know the story, Fujiyama Crest, and it won.
So as Fujiyama turned for home, they ring a bell at Ascot, don't they?
What
was going through your mind at that precise moment?
I'll be true, right? When it went off in front, I thought, this can't. I always used to love horses wearing blinkers, because when I owned horses myself, and when they put blinkers on, that was the last straw. We revert to a pair of blinkers. You never see many Derby winners wear blinkers, or, you know what I mean, you know, these top horses. And I just thought it was going to get beat all the time, and I was standing there watching it, and when he rang that bell I thought, hang on, it could be on us here. And when it went past the post, well, then it never hurt that day. The time it hurt, on the Sunday, I went Ascot on the Sunday again the day after, and when I got there, Sue Barker interviewed me from BBC, and that day I never took a bet in 3 races, because there was a rumour going around, don't bet with Wiltshire, he won't pay, he's done his money yesterday, you have a bet with him, you'll never get paid. I lasted 3 races, walked in the car, sat in the car, cried my eyes out and thought, this is unbelievable. I've always tried to be a payer in my life, you know what I mean? And when it happened, and I thought, if no one wants to bet with you, that was the thing that hurt more than the most. And then from Monday onwards, then I thought, right, we've got to go and start paying people back. I went into Coral's head office on the Monday, and I think it's in the first book it's got all the statement in the book. And I think I owed Coral's 250 grand, and Trevor Bowman, who was their top man, was there. And he said, oh, Gary, it's lovely to see you. I said, hang on a minute, I've got to tell you what's going to happen. And I said, look, I'm going to sell, I've got an house, 2 houses I had in fact. And I said, as soon as I sell it, you'll get paid every penny, sell the cars, everything. and he said, well, the other firms are trying to put a bit of pressure on me to take you to court so you lose your licence. That's what the other bookies try to do, the big bookies. So anyway, he said, I'm not going to do that, I trust you. It took me nearly 4 years to pay everyone back, but I paid everyone back from that day, so I can hold my head up high. And would it happen again? It nearly happened again this year at Ascot.
Well, exactly, at Royal Ascot. We'll come to that in a moment, but you of course did have the option to declare yourself unable to pay, and you would have lost your licence.
Only for 3 years, and then I would have come back. I could come back again. I don't think I'd have even lost my licence. I think in them days, if you don't, there was a new rule. There was a rule that if you'd never pay, I don't know, you might have been right there, Julie, but I know in 3 years' time, I'd have been warned off the race courses, I think, for 3 years. So I couldn't have went horse racing for 3 years.
Is there a bit of you that wishes you'd done that?
Nah, never. No, I've been brought up at Cockney. We've started with nothing, we've finished with nothing the way it's going on. No. I think if you're a bookie, unlike a lot of bookies now, when they come and press the buttons and they green up and they get their bit of money that they got and they never lose, but with me, I've always been a bookie. Even now, I don't want to. I want winners and I want losers. I don't want to. That's what I want in life.
Has Frankie Dettori ever spoken to you about it?
Yeah, Frankie. Funny, I was doing the BBC in where was we? We was in Dubai, and he come and jumped on my shoulder, jumped on my back. We was at the hotel, and he come and jumped on my back, and he was as good as gold, Frankie. He still is now. When I see him at the point of Gardy, and he jumps on the thing, and we have a laugh and different things, you know. And really and truthfully, Frankie, that day, I know it's going to sound silly, but that made my life, because although I done my money that day, since then I got on the BBC, working on the BBC as a betting presenter with John Parrott. Fantastic. You imagine, everyone sees you on BBC. When they come to the races, who do they bet with? Oh, it's the belly from the telly there, Gary Wiltshire, and they bet with you. Then I got on Sky Greyhounds. Dave Lawrence gave me a chance to get on that. Fantastic. We had a great time, Julie. You was working on Sky as well at the time. Everyone was so friendly. It was fantastic. They were good days. So although I'd done my money, did I do my money? Because since then I live well, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
It certainly changed your life, but there is a serious side to this, in the sense that when it did dawn on you what had happened, and you had all these debts, and you had a baby on the way at the time, and you had to sell everything, there was a point where you weren't sure if you wanted to live or die.
Exactly. In people, when they say, I call myself, big, and inside you think you don't show it when you have good days or bad days. I hate that when you see bookies at the races where they win a lot of money on one race, they jump up and down. I just don't like that. I think punters and bookmakers, you've got to be. And I was very, very low, very, very depressed, yeah. And for a moment, I went up to Scotland on the Monday after I see Trevor Bowman, and on the Tuesday I went up to Scotland for 3 days. And walking around, like in them days, I could walk a lot better, and I'm walking around like Lomond and thinking, what am I going to do here? This is going to be too much for me to get out of trouble. I just don't think I can do it. And then all of a sudden, after 3 days, I come back, right, the house was going to go. Bearing in them days, I sold my house in Little Orwood for 600 grand. Warren House it was a training establishment anyway. So you can imagine 600 grand 20 odd years ago, how much would that be worth now? Millions, and also they've got planning permission now, but there's about 100 houses on the site. So that's how my luck's been all my life, really, down and up.
You sound very laid back about it, but it must have been a really difficult time, to put it lightly.
Yeah, it was difficult, Julie, I suppose, when you say laid back on it, but what am I going to do? Could I sit down and cry? Later on I was absolutely, that Dettori day was a killer, but later on in my life, and what happened with a newspaper journalist, what they put on the headlines and said what I was and what I never, which I never, that hurt more than doing my money Dettori day. Money's not everything, Julie. You got money one day, you ain't the next. As long as you can breathe, and as long as you got your health, I think that means more than anything.
Recently, when Frankie Dettori rode the first 4 at Royal Ascot, you were actually working elsewhere, so you weren't really too aware of what was going on.
And I got a text from yourself saying, "Oh, you were at Ascot today." We was about
just checking that history wasn't going to repeat itself.
Yeah, it was funny that day, because I had my son, I had young Charlie there, who was representing me at Ascot, and because I was at Chelmsford, I was playing. It was Ladies' Day at Chelmsford, And after I found out, and I texted him, and I said, "Well, how you done today?" And he said, "Frankie had the first 4." I said, "Yeah, I knew anyway." And he said, "Oh, the 5th one." I said, "I hope you stood the 5th one for a lot of money." And he said, "No." He said, I thought that would win." He said, "I never laid it." He said, I never laid the 4th one." He said, "We've won 900 on the day." And I thought to myself, well, at least he's not going to take after me, because if I was there, I would have given that fifth one a striping as well. And
Would you have done it again?
Of course I would. It only
Would
got
you?
beat a shorthead, yeah. It was only got beat a shorthead. I'd have had another go, I think, yeah. People say that, but I'd have had another go, yeah.
I mean, will it happen again ever, whether it's Frankie or somebody else?
Anything can happen, Julie. You know, I think after what you got so close there with Frankie, and the fifth one, you know, how much, God knows how much Ben stood it for as well, Ben Key, because if you're a bookie, you've got to stay in these horses. In my eyes, if something's 12 to 1, if you can lay 4 to 1, you've got to lay it. Mate, I would never have laid it for as much as I did before, but I would have took me 2 or 3 grand out of it.
I think the bookies have sort of learnt from your mistakes, even if you haven't. They are actually scared of laying multiple bets on Frankie particularly.
There was a few firms that day, they never laid Yank, they never laid, they laid the bets, but you couldn't. But look, I know what it's like to bookmaker. When people say about that everyone's moaning about the off-course firms not taking the bets and everything, you imagine, Julie, how much they'd have had to pay out. You know, I think a lot of firms would have went skint that day. You know, it's come to millions and millions and millions it would have come to. You know, so the people that moan about bookmakers have never been a bookmaker themselves. There's plenty of bookmakers on the Betfair forum who think they are bookmakers, but if they were bookmakers that day when that horse was 14 to 1, leg 5 last Thursday, why did it go off 4 to 1 or 7 to 2 or 3 to 1 favourite? Why didn't they lay it if they thought they want to be bookies? But the game, you know, I can't run bookies down because what they do, they're running a business, Julie. It's like myself, you know. And when I see that day, but I never forget, I done an interview for ITV the following day, and he said to me, Brian Gleeson, he said, how did you feel? And I said, in my heart, I wanted them all to win because let them go through the pain barrier that I've been through for 20 odd years. But listen, Frankie, we love him. We need people like that in the sport. If we ain't got Frankie Dettori, we ain't got no sport, Joe.